It's 1 in 5 suffer from it, and most suffer in silence. And
but the 1 in 5 is the women that actually come forward and get diagnosed, so it's probably much higher.
Yeah, it's probably more like 1 in 3. And they say yes, that it is temporary and it's treatable, but I do believe that you need to put the work in. And I worked my butt off, did whatever I had to do. I was going to therapy once a week. I did start medication. I was willing to do whatever I could to get myself better and to be there for my girls, because I was like an absent mother, and that was horrible. Like, whoever wants to feel like that? And I just know who I am as a person and as a mom and as a wife, and I couldn't be any of those things. And I actually remember when we were outside on the deck one time, and I was like telling you I just don't feel it myself, and I remember you saying, like, I know, like, look around though, we have 2 healthy kids, and we have our beautiful home, we're putting a pool in right now. And I remember telling you, like, I know, but none of that stuff even matters right now. Like, whatever is wrong with me is horrible, and I have no control over it.
Well, because it's more of like, I was telling you, just think positive thoughts. And like, we have so much great stuff in our life, but any of this postpartum stuff, it's a hormonal imbalance, right? So it's like, no matter what you do, there's wiring going on in your body that's not allowing you to, like, be happy, right? And that's, I think, what opened up our eyes to this whole thing. But just like the impact it's had on our family, just for some perspective here, like, I don't break ever. Like, that, like, she calls me an alien. Like, I don't show much emotion, and I'm always the person that people come to. Like, I'm the rock for a lot of people in my life. And I broke down completely during this. Like, when I talked to her on the phone when she was in this psych ward in the hospital, like, I was just hysterically crying on the phone with her. And
and I'm the one saying, like, honey, it's not that bad here. Like, I'm getting better. And it was just like, he should have been telling me that, but then it was like, I needed to be strong for you. But definitely puts things into perspective, how much postpartum does impact not just the mom, but everybody. And this is definitely a huge piece of advice, that if you are listening or watching this and you have children, or you are going to have children in the future, your significant other is pregnant, that don't ever think for a second that this cannot happen to them, and be there to support them. And sometimes it might mean asking a question that you don't feel comfortable asking, because you quite literally might be saving your wife's life.
But the thing I want to talk about too is, all right, the impact it had on us. So it's a very big deal, but the awareness of it, and this is something that I talk about a lot, like with doctors, where I call out doctors who I don't necessarily know if it's their fault, but they have no or very limited knowledge, like, on health and nutrition, but they're advising people on the front lines on this stuff. So same way where even like your OBGYN place, like, doesn't even have knowledge that there was this perinatal mood disorder place that was even there, that people could go to. So I know you've been spending a lot of time on trying to raise that awareness, but first, with this postpartum stuff, like, what's the typical profile of a person that ends up with postpartum? Because I was pretty amazed to hear it's like it's not always this way, but it's like a certain personality type a lot of times, right?
So typically, from what we see, like, at the center, it's type A people, and we like to be in control. We like to have a routine, constantly, like, making lists, and we want everything to kind of go as planned. And motherhood is not like that at all. And that's difficult. And then also, like, when you are suffering from something like this, you have no control over it. And that's what killed me, because if something's wrong with me, then I want to be able to fix it, but there was no fixing what I was experiencing. And then I think things from there just spiraled out of control, and I was going from like 8 hours of sleep. Like we had a baby that was sleeping through the night from 3 months. So there was like no reason, and she's an angel baby, like so good, right? Like I literally popped her out, and like a few weeks after I was like, I have baby fever again, because she's just so good and easy. And so when I was going through this, I kept thinking to myself, like, this can't be postpartum depression, because like, why? Like, I'm so happy. I'm obsessed with this little girl. And again, not realizing that it doesn't have anything to do with me. Like, it doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anyone. There are so many celebrities that suffer from this as well.
And this was like back in the day, like our parents' generation, the grandparents, it was just called the baby blues, right? Like, oh, you just had a kid, it's the baby blues. But this also affects like a lot of helpers too, right? Like nurses, teachers,
Yes.
where you're always so busy helping other people.
Empaths.
So then your glass is almost full already, and then this just kind of causes it to spill over, right? With the hormonal imbalance, it's like the perfect storm.
Yeah. So they do see lots of nurses, lots of teachers, because and most of those people, ironically, are type A as well. So and I'm all of those things. So I kind of like fit that mold. Not to say that if you aren't, I do know some people that are not type A at all that have suffered from this as well. But it's like a very wide spectrum, and it can look different on everyone. And yes, baby blues are a thing. Baby blues typically happen, if it does happen, like 2 to 3 weeks postpartum. But then it goes away. But if what you are feeling or experiencing is lasting longer, it's more than that. And that although there is not much help out there, sadly, that...
Yeah, until she's done with
yes,
this.
because I am on a mission to change that. But
so what is your mission?
My mission is to just have every mom that has a baby or is pregnant at an OB office where you're constantly at. And that's another thing that we've learned, that when you are pregnant, you are constantly at your OBGYN's office for checkups. But yet when you are postpartum and have a baby, you're seen once at 6 weeks, and that is it. And that is when women need help the most. And so that just like blows my mind. But yes, there is not a lot of help out there, and I am on this mission of trying to change that so that every mom, when they're pregnant, they are educated, because I think the education piece is majorly lacking, even for OBs and psychiatrists. Like, I was misdiagnosed and flat out told that it wasn't this. And it was. I was like textbook postpartum anxiety, really. And then that kind of led to the depression, because I didn't know what it was. And then also when a woman has a baby, also being educated and just reminded, more than just passing out a pamphlet, that this can happen to you. And it's not to scare you, but to be prepared in knowing that if these things ever happen to you, these symptoms, that it's okay, like you're not crazy, and that you can get help, and that it is temporary and treatable. And I so wish that somebody had like scared me and really educated me, more than just handing me a pamphlet, but educated me on what this could look like, because I think I would have gotten help a lot sooner. And every mom deserves to be at their best all the time. And while your best may look different every day, motherhood's hard, and it shouldn't be something that makes it even harder, and being something, suffering in silence. So I am on this mission now. I've been sharing my story on social media at HappyFitMom32. And really, my hope is just that women come across it and they learn about it and what it can really look like, and also just be there for anyone that is struggling with it. And I show you all the time the messages that I receive of moms that,
and this is like moms all over the country who literally don't even like have somewhere to turn, right? Because the awareness for this is, the awareness and the resources for this are lacking tremendously. Like this needs to change, because it affects so many women, and it's not like you feel a little sad for a couple days. Like there's some like dire consequences if things don't get addressed, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then
oh wait, so to go back on that, so the messages that I receive, like, it's sad, but it gives me so much hope, because just talking to somebody else that is going through this or has experienced it is so valuable. And like, this is totally not to brag at all, but I have received so many messages. Like, I've made like friends with people that I've never even met before, and just like being there and telling them, like, I experienced the same exact thing, and I promise you, like, I did not believe I was going to get better, but like, here I am. And there are two specifically, one girl in North Carolina and one in Connecticut, that like our stories are just so identical, and we become close virtually, and they write me all the time, and the girl in North Carolina, her mom writes me all the time and literally says that, like, they don't know what they would have done if they did not come across my profile, because I quite literally saved their life. And this girl's mom wrote to me and said, like, I don't know if my daughter would be here if it weren't for you. And while that makes me so happy inside that I had the courage to share my story and in hopes of helping other girls, that's like, there needs to be something more going on.
Shouldn't be that way.
Help, because
you shouldn't be the catch-all or the last resort for people. Like, they should know about this before they have their baby. Their OBGYN should be fully engaged and educated on this. So I know that's you're gonna change that. I know.
And they found me by like just realizing that something was going on with them as well, and nowhere to go, and they searched the hashtag postpartum depression, and that's how they came across my post, and then had the courage to message me. And again, like, that is really sad. That's what moms would go to find help, because of the lack of help and support and education. So yeah, I will change that. It's going to be a work in progress, but it's very, very, very unfortunate. Yeah.
So there's the support from like the medical side, but the other part of it is the spouses, right? And husbands who I didn't think twice about, helping her out, because it's just, she's always there for me, right? So I just want to make a point to the husbands here, and I'm going to get close to the camera, because I've heard stories, and I had people reach out to me, whether they're, her friends, my friends, or just random people who saying, it's so nice you were there for Jen, and you were so supportive, because like my husband wasn't there for me and he called me crazy. And I just want to say that's ridiculous, because you know damn well that if you were going through something like this, you would expect your wife to be there for you and to fully support you. So to call your wife crazy, something like this, it's a real thing. And I understand, like, it's hard to deal with as a guy, but you got to be there. Like, the most important thing is being there for your spouse, because going through this alone, I couldn't even imagine her going through this alone, and I never would have let that happen. But you have to step up as a man in that situation and support your wife if you know this is something they're going through.